This is my final project for Technicolor, where I'm going to be reviewing the kind of like Truman breakdown scene with Meryl, starting the second half arc of the movie. In case you didn't know, The Truman Show, to give like a little bit of a background, is this movie about this guy named Truman who is stuck inside of this dome-like structure found on Earth where his every move is being recorded to a live audience all around the world 24/7. The main idea of the show is basically to give audiences a form of true natural acting in a sense. And so they don't want Truman to understand that he's actually on a TV show. They want him to be completely oblivious to that fact. This scene plays one of the biggest parts of how Truman starts to figure out that the life around him isn't as true as it may have seemed in the past. Getting into cinematography, one of the most important things to talk about whenever it comes to this scene is the fact that The Truman Show does its cinematography a little bit differently than most other movies or shows. The main point is that the author or director wanted us to really understand that the entire time we are watching Truman just the same as anyone else in their world would have been watching him on TV. So most of the time we find ourselves looking through secret cameras, or in this case, we're looking through something like Meryl's button, which has a secret camera placed inside of it, which actually allows us to track the scene through what one of the actual viewers in their world would have been looking at. It is a great way of telling us exactly how real this is. And especially whenever we get to the shot where we go out and we see what's happening through the TV screen to just layer that immersion even further, it truly exemplifies that, hey, they know what they're doing whenever it comes to these camera placements, just the way that they're showing it to us for this movie. It would have been shown if this were an actual TV show. Not only adding to its realism, but also giving us a sense of like, oh, we're in this now. We are actually watching The Truman Show.
Truman. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Oh. How can anyone expect me to carry on under these conditions? It's unprofessional.
Now I wanted to get into the actual prevalence of narrative within this scene, as it holds a very heavy amount of importance, not only regarding like earlier parts of the film, but also regarding what happens in the actual scene itself. Really early on, we can see one of the like minor plots has been happening throughout the entire movie that shows that like Meryl is there not only as a character but also as an ad salesman, where she tries to show off this Mococo cocoa hot chocolate taken from the mountains of Nicaragua. She sells it like a sales pitch, and that's what ends up getting Truman mad in this scene. It feels like something robotic, and it helps to develop the fact that these characters are kind of just like a script, literally one for one. They are just out here playing how they are told and how they are meant to, rather than how Truman would be, where everything that he does is real and from the heart. This is the actual reason why Truman is able to start figuring things out. These little things, the Mococo I just referenced, the fact that Meryl talked about that dicer and cutter at the beginning of the movie, and even later on, the beer that Marlon ends up bringing in. It's the exact same beer every single time. But ignoring the ad portion of it, this is also a major part of kind of like Truman's breakdown and his mental health going on this downward spiral. We see this a lot throughout the second half of the movie until he eventually disappears going on the boat, where he is just mentally declining because he's realizing that everything around him is fake. And right here, he has a breakdown. He doesn't threaten Meryl to actually threaten Meryl. He's threatening Meryl so that he can figure out what's going on. The second that he hears her call for help, it confirms it to him that there's something bigger going on around him.
Dice me, slice me, or peel me. There's so many choices.
No! Do something!
What'd you say? Who are you talking to?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
all things considered, this movie is a really short movie. It only runs for about an hour and a half. And in that hour and a half, they try to tell you a lot about the character that we know as Truman and his life up until this point. There's a lot of times where these tiny little sections, only span about 2 minutes, actually make great depth to the character beyond what's just going on the surface. The average viewer seeing this for the first time, like I did, would have probably just seen this as a pure psychotic breakdown, considering all of his mental health problems with his father and everything building up to this scene. But as you look into it deeper and deeper, you start to realize that the scene is mostly really talking about the truth behind his realization of the world around him. And it's what will eventually lead to him leaving and going on that boat and trying to get off this island that he's been trapped on all of his life. Now, obviously, I've been playing this clip for practically the entire video now, but I haven't really let you hear much except for the 2 small audio clips that I let you see throughout the other 2 analysis parts. I want you guys to actually understand the truth behind just how good the sound plays into this, not only on the actor side, but also on like the chorus and sound effects and the music going on in the background paired with this scene.
Out in Nicaragua, no artificial sweeteners.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
I've tasted other cocos. This is the best.
What the hell does this have to do with anything? Tell me what's happening!
Let's pause real quick. Obviously, there's not a lot of background noise going on at this part of the scene, but early on, we immediately heard that Meryl voice I was talking about earlier, where she sounds like an advertisement while she's talking about that Moco Coco, right? It's just playing to her character that her character is really a character, not a person. She's completely fake to everything that has been going on in Truman's life, and it's being shown now. And he's starting to take notice. You can also kind of see his mental state. He is aggressive right now. He is angry. He's trying to find answers to what's happening. So he's kind of lashing out at Meryl a little bit, and we can visibly see her start to get scared. Let's continue.
Well, you're having a nervous breakdown. That's what's happening.
You're part of this, aren't you?
Roman!
Meryl!
You are scaring me!
No, you're scaring me, Meryl. What are you gonna do? Dice me? Slice me or peel me? There's so many choices!
No! Do something!
Pausing again. Now we actually get to hear a bit of the background track that's going to play throughout the rest of this scene. It's that classic, rearing, like, high-pitched noise that starts to bring in the tension of the scene. Makes one a little bit quicker. Let's continue again.
What'd you say? Who are you talking to?
Nothing. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
You said you said.
No, I didn't talk. I wasn't talking to anybody. Roman,
Talk to me!
I don't know anything. Please stop.
Still, we are just getting more and more of that feeling of high tension as we not only hear the music get louder and get evolved into adding in some like extra bass or whatever's going on back there, we also hear literally in Meryl's voice kind of like the terror of the situation. She's on a TV show and yet she is terrified of not only what's going to happen if Truman actually goes crazy, but also what could be possibly happening with the producers who are just letting this happen to her. Let's carry on.
Stay where you are. Truman? Truman.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. How can anyone expect me to carry on under these conditions? It's unprofessional.
Now, obviously, there's more you can get into with how this scene connects to like some of the other ones regarding the sound quality. But I just feel like that last line that Meryl has, alongside the softening of the previously very high-pitched, high-stress music, helps develop that Meryl isn't going to continue after this. She leaves. Like, she leaves the show after this point inside of the movie. It makes a lot of sense. It probably makes a lot of sense to Truman as well. But it just gives that, like, true high depth that this show has stakes. It's not as nice as it looked in the beginning. And it's giving these characters who used to just be characters a little bit more depth. I think that's pretty nice. Thank you for watching my very brief analysis of this scene from The Truman Show. I had kind of gotten the inspiration to do this video from the National Film Registry, which is, this thing which, like, every year it chooses 25 movies that have very high prominence inside of, like, our history to be preserved and saved, kind of like an archive. And it was the first time that I've ever seen this movie. I got it from there, and I feel like I can totally see why they chose The Truman Show as a pick for the NFR. Main reasons being is that the show represents a lot more than the typical, like, action movie or comedy piece. This is a real psychological heavy show. And it doesn't look like that on the surface. On the surface, it just looks like you're watching a guy who's trying to break free from this TV that's been holding him prison. But in reality, you're seeing a man who has lived his entire life, broadcasted to the entire world, living with nobody but straight actors, try and find his way out to live in the real world while battling the mental issues that go with realizing your entire existence up until this point has been fake. It is a psychological trip that develops itself throughout the movie, and we see this not only through this breakdown scene, but also with some other scenes, like whenever his father ends up dying, whenever he sees his father again, and his irrational fear of the ocean. Plus, the ending stuff where he ends up crashing into the side of the dome, and he's eventually able to actually escape. For such a short movie, there is so much content jam-packed into it that makes it really analyzable and really, like, theory craftable as to come to it, which has kept this movie, like, relevant through all these years. I know that personally, I've seen the movie through, like, shorts and reels on Instagram before I actually watched the full thing, and I thought that it came out way earlier, but no. It is a older movies from the 1900s that still finds prevalence even today and holds an amazing narrative. Those are my closing thoughts. Thank you for watching. I'm signing off.